People, grab yourself some large paint sticks for these DIY projects today. And in case you don't know where you can grab yourself some paint sticks, at Home Depot. I like to say Depot. These can be found over in the paint section and they're $1.48. Well, it depends on how many you're getting and the size. These large ones we're going to be using today are 21 inches and you get 3 in the pack. But if I'm being 100%, these right here are my go-tos, these 12-inch joints. You get 10 in a pack for $1.48 and I always grab a pack whenever I get a chance. For this hanging wall decor piece, we're gonna need a couple of both. 2 21-inch sticks and 4 of the 12 inches. But first, let's get rid of these wonky fence tops. I don't know why, but leaving them on, it just screams paint sticks to me. So if I'm gonna resell something, I don't want people to look at it and be like, I'm not buying that, it's a paint stick. So just chop the top off, and then this way later, if I decide I'm going to sell it, I don't have to worry about people thinking, oh, it's paint stick. But if you like to leave the wonky tops on, by all means, don't let me stop you. People, if you do not have a miter saw, grab a miter box. It is completely fine. I use a miter saw and I actually grab a couple of these and saw them at the same time since they are so thin. I don't mind bunching them up and just kind of cutting them right at the nub. Be careful if you go to do this, okay? I don't make any recommendations. You do one at a time. Recently in a Q&A, I was asked about cutting things with miter saw and using tools. And I joked because I'm like, you guys really never actually see me cutting anything, because even though it looks like it on film, I am a tad bit scared of power tools too. So here I decided to just give you a nice up and front view of what I actually look like once I have everything measured out and ready to go, and just cut it. Don't try that at home. I don't recommend it at all. For all the pieces, I decided I'm just gonna paint these suckers up with some white Snow White chalk paint by Waverly. And I'm gonna turn it kind of into a stain by taking about 1/4 cup water and a nice chunk of this paint right here and just mixing it until I know that the color in the water is blended really nicely. I feel like I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to go with the designs of these, and in case I decided to decoupage later, this just made sense to have everything white. You of course stain these and paint these whatever colors you want, but I also love how you can see the wood grain shining through these. It's absolutely beautiful when you kind of create like a stain with your paints. Now we're gonna need to bring in the stapler. I know it's been a minute since the stapler's made an appearance. Welcome it people. We are gonna experience the stapler most of this video. And let's not forget, we need some wood glue because we gotta make sure that these are gonna hold. Okay, we gotta make sure they're gonna hold. And wood glue is gonna do that for us and give us a nice long hold. I really did not want the staples showing through on the front, so I thought, let's turn these backwards and try to pop these in so this way the staples are on the back. And of course, I fell a little bit short here. Ah! It figures. It figures. It figures. Look at me testing to make sure that, you know, little staple caught right there. It looks good, right? Yeah, it looks real good. Just as I figured, they aren't connecting. They're not long enough. They didn't go through. So that means I'm gonna have to put them on the front. I didn't want to do that. It ended up working out, but keep in mind that the staples, at least the size that I have, they're only big enough to go through the small paint sticks. They're not big enough to go through the larger ones. So I took my time measuring things out. I had these 2 little wooden pencil boxes and this little photo frame here that I wanted to attach onto our wall piece. The idea behind this wall decor piece is to give us a section for us to hang something decorative and to be able to change out floral pieces. So the top, I wanted to be able to change out the frame if I wanted to, as long as it had like a hanger, we could do that. And with the little planter boxes, we could just change out the florals. This way for every season, every holiday, whatever you wanted to do, you did not have to keep this the same. you could actually utilize these large paint sticks. I just used a tiny screw, but feel free to use whatever you want to, you know, create your little hanger there. Here's my pencil boxes that I didn't share with you. I was like, I forgot to share the whole process of adding these little pencil boxes, or they're going to be planners for us today, okay? Put whatever you want. If you can find the box, I really wanted to get some boxes from Dollar Tree, but my recent trip was not fruitful with them. So I had these in my stash and I figured these will work just fine. I'm also taking some wood glue and then I'm gonna flip them on over and staple them through the back. For the hanger, I'm gonna use these little chains from the fairy garden section in Dollar Tree. That's what a lot of people call it on my browsing channel. I get such a kick out of it. I love that little fairy garden section. These are going to just kind of go right on the sides. I'm taking a little nail and I'm just going to hammer that in here so we can loop these suckers on the nail and then it'll dangle. And no, of course it's not like, you know, glued down or anything. So these will come off. So be mindful if you create this. You want to make sure that it's either stable or, you know, whatever. But I wasn't too worried about the chain coming off on the sides. I always mean to do little sticker pieces with Dollar Tree's wall creations. I know many of you do not have a Cricut and I get asked about different ideas. I seen this one and just thought it was beautiful and thought we could break this up into several little sections if we needed to and get several DIY projects out of it. So for this little frame that I'm creating, I'm just cutting out the Be Humble piece. And I'm taking a piece of decorative paper from Hobby Lobby and plopping it right onto that and putting it in our frame. I love how this paint stick DIY turned out and I love that it is interchangeable. You do not have to keep everything as it is. You can change it out as you want to. And it only cost me a couple dollars to make. I love little hanging doors, and recently I was at Dollar Tree and seen even in their plus section they have adorable doors for $5. However, it's not a barn door, which I really like the look of barn doors, and I thought I think I can make one for just about $5. And to accomplish that, we're going to need 6 of the large paint sticks and 2 of the smaller paint sticks. We're going to use these to kind of set the tone for the top and the bottom of the door. Of course, they are a little bit wider, so we're gonna need to bring in the miter shears. Oh yeah, everybody is appearing in this video today, people. Check out the miter shears. It's been a minute. And honestly, use whatever you want to trim down the paint sticks. I just felt like we were just cutting a little nub off, and these should be able to do it without causing me too many hand grip issues here. And they did. They popped right off just easy enough. But if I had to, you know, chop the whole head off, it's just easier for me to use the miter saw or a miter box. I grabbed a bunch of these handles from Lowe's probably last year. They were like 99 cents. I like to pop in Lowe's and Home Depot as often as possible because you never know when you're going to find little gems like this for a little bit of nothing. And they had the matching little knobs and everything, and I got all the bits for 99 cents each. So we're going to use this as our little handle, and our paint stick is too thin for us to actually put in the screws. They would like have stuck out in the back. So I'm taking this little Cricut tool, you could use whatever you want, and just kind of marking where the holes are here so I can plop some glue in this space and not have it like oozing out all over the handle. You know what I'm saying? This is just gonna mark exactly where I want this to go. When I was happy with all that, I took some wood glue and I plopped it on our little top and bottom pieces here. And I grabbed some hot glue to get that immediate hold. And then we have that long lasting hold with the wood glue. So this way our door will stay together and in place. Because at this current moment, I still didn't have anything on the back to hold the larger paint sticks in place. I'm going to use E6000 for the handles. I was out of my favorite Gorilla Glue gel. This stuff just, I don't like the smell to it. That's the only reason. It works really well, okay, but I'm just not a fan of the smell. I don't have that with the Gorilla Glue gel, so that's why I like to use that a little bit more often. And here's our door, people. Stick a fork in it. It is done. How easy was that? Of course you're not. What if we had a stencil on it? And just mind the fact that it has some paint on it, okay? Some crusty paint. It needs to be clean, okay? Stop judging me. I decided just to stick with a black chalk paint for this, and I used a synthetic brush to just do little swirly motions for our stencil. If you're not very good at stenciling, I do have a how-to stencil video, and I can link that down in the description box for you to just give you a little bit of help with your stencil game. There's a lot of little tips and tricks in there, but the main key to remember whenever you're stenciling and whatever you're choosing to stencil is to make sure you offload your brush so you don't have a lot of paint on it. For our hanger, we're using these awesome sawtooth hammer and hangers. You just take a little hammer, tappity tap 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 on the back, and you are all done. I did, drape some floral pieces on the side here. Love how this turned out. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever created a door with some paint sticks before. People, this might be the easiest paint stick DIY I've ever made, and I really think it's extremely high-end looking. You'll have to let me know what you think about it. Grab yourself 4 of the 21-inch paint sticks and flip them on the back side. Obviously, paint it whatever color you want. I'm going with white here. And bring in the miter shears. We're going to need to cut at least one of the small paint sticks, so this way we can pop it on the back as a brace to keep our large paint sticks together. And if you want to use a miter box or a miter saw, you go right ahead. I am confident that the miter shears can chomp down and handle the job with these little paint sticks. Then I'm just taking some wood glue and smooshing it on the back of these before I take the stapler and plop a bunch of staples in these suckers. And in case you didn't know, I just want to let you know that the staples won't really go through the larger paint sticks, but they go through the small ones just fine, at least for the size staples. You could always get larger staples, but these are the ones I have on hand. I'm taking a little bit of twine and just wrapping it around the top here. You can take some ribbon or whatever, some beads, and put around the top. I'm just using some twine, wrapping it around like 5 or 6 times, and make sure that if you're going to do something like this, use some tacky glue, something that's going to give you a long lasting hold, especially if you plan on selling a piece like this. It's been my experience that if you're just using like a fabric with some wood and you're only putting the hot glue on there, that it will wear down or come off in time, especially if it gets hot. When you're happy with how many ever times you wrap that around there, grab you a hook, okay? And keep in mind that you're going to want to glue this down with some E6000 Gorilla Glue Gel, because unless you have really tiny screws on hand, you will see them pop out the back of your project. So just use the glue. It does a really good job. I'm just going to take some of these Dollar Tree wall cling, wall creation pieces and this little stay positive saying and put on the bottom here. If you want it to stay permanently, seal over it with some Mod Podge. However, if you want to be able to change it up, because these do peel off easily, don't seal it up. You can change the saying to your will of your decor. Last, I'm taking one of these Dollar Tree bamboo rings and creating a little wreath to hang off of our hanger. You could, of course, put whatever type of little wreath you want or hanging decor piece. Switch this out however you want. I love how high-end looking this piece came out. And again, it just cost me a few dollars. People, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed all these projects. As always, I appreciate y'all so much for hanging out with me. And until next time, bye!